Okay, so Medal of Honor Warfighter has been out for a little over a month now, and it has met with some pretty bad reviews from some major gaming websites. But is Warfighter really as bad as they say it is? Hi, I'm Max with Got Game, and we recently got our hands on Medal of Honor Warfighter to give you a second opinion. Like a brazenly patriotic movie married to a third-rate soap opera, a thin and clearly artificial thread of human drama is awkwardly tied up with a mundane plot involving a convoluted terrorist network. Regardless of any intention to honor real-life soldiers and their families, it's altogether unconvincing and unmoving. Game trailers. Before I continue, I just want to say that unlike our over-liberal idiot who wrote this, I actually had the honor of serving my country in the 21st Engineering Battalion out of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Hua. As soldiers, we stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States in close combat. You say we kill, I say we protect and defend those we love. In a combat situation, we do everything in our power to keep ourselves and our battle buddies alive so we get home to those loved ones. And every second of downtime we think, we pray, and sometimes we cry for our loved ones. They're our heart and our foundation, and in turn that keeps us focused and determined to complete each task that's given to us by our commanding officer. When the people we love threaten to leave us, our foundation loses its integrity, and in turn our head is no longer in the game, which can be dangerous to ourselves and our battle buddies. This game shows the player that a soldier doesn't always use a weapon to fight for his loved ones, and that even a tier 1 soldier has a heart, has fears, and is just as human as those he or she is fighting for. So unless you're willing to raise your hand and swear to defend the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, I suggest you keep your fucking mouth shut before thinking about interpreting the mind of a soldier. Okay, now let's share our thoughts. Medal of Honor Warfighter is built on the Frostbite 2 engine, so this game looks great when it's finished rendering. Seriously, it's 2012. We should not be seeing grass grow and buildings form before our eyes while we're playing. We've seen how awesome the Frostbite 2 engine works on consoles, so Danger Close and DICE have no fucking excuse for this mess. None. In this game you play multiple characters, but the main focus is on Preacher, a tier 1 soldier who, in a nutshell, is struggling to hold his marriage together while fighting to protect the US from terrorists. As a veteran, I connected more with Preacher than any of the characters in the game because of his constant conflict between marriage and his sworn duties. I truly applaud Danger Close for getting the character dynamics and the chemistry between Preacher and his wife right on the money. As I watched Preacher look at his wife and daughter in the hospital bed, it reminded me of my time in the infirmary and how much I wanted my wife there so I can just hold her tight and never let go. Thankfully, my wife is not far away these days. And I really wished Danger Close would have just kept focus on Preacher. It's really hard for an audience to connect with any character if they have to constantly switch to another one. Warfighter doesn't have the weight of, say, Killzone 3, but it doesn't shoot for the zippiness of Modern Warfare either, instead finding a more or less comfortable place between the two. GameSpot. More or less comfortable is an understatement with Medal of Honor Warfighter. The campaign has that snap-in, zoom-in, fast, responsive controls that Call of Duty vets are used to, but the multiplayer is a completely different animal. The snap-in doesn't really work, and when you're zoomed in, your reticle either moves too slow or too fast, and don't bother to slide during a firefight because you'll get picked off before you can recover. When I pick up an FPS for the first time, I like to try the campaign first because most of the time the campaign can serve as a great tutorial that can really help you get into the groove of things before heading into the somewhat unforgiving multiplayer. Unfortunately, you really can't do that with Medal of Honor Warfighter because the single player and multiplayer were developed separately, and it seems that neither DICE nor Danger Close ever spoke to each other during the game's development. So now you're stuck with two completely different games boxed together with the name Medal of Honor slapped in the fucking box. Beautiful, huh? Next time, DICE, give us a combat training mode so we noobs can at least stand a fighting chance. Much of Medal of Honor is out of your hands, stripping you of the satisfaction that comes with making a difference or any impact on the world in a meaningful way. IGN. As a soldier, you're taught to adapt and overcome obstacles. This means sometimes you have to think outside of the box and be unpredictable. Medal of Honor does not allow you this kind of option. It's extremely linear and completely predictable, which in turn makes for a somewhat boring experience. I actually fell asleep while playing the campaign, no joke. If Danger Close wanted to really push authenticity, they should allow us to plan our moves like Brothers in Arms, where you're given an overhead of the terrain and you can coordinate with your fire teams, or maybe like Crisis, where you can attack from different points of entry. I think I speak for all FPS gamers when I say we are sick and tired of playing campaigns that feel like rail shooters. We're not paying $60 to play a 4 or 5 hour version of Ghost Squad. You want to be on top of the mountain, EA? Stop fucking us on the single player, and maybe more of us will buy your shit. Multiplayer, on the other hand, allows you to coordinate with your team, but in close quarter combat only. Battlefield vehicle horrors need not apply. As far as hit detection and bullet damage goes, I only have one question for DICE. Why are we running around with airsoft BB guns? Seriously, an AUG or hell even a pistol at point blank range is lethal. I shouldn't have to bury a clip and a half to put someone down. It's fucking retarded. The best part of this game is the Battle Buddy system, where you start the match with a partner and are given extra points for helping him throughout the match. While in the army, I was trained to stick with a Battle Buddy at all times, so this system isn't only welcome, it's authentic. If you get this game, please have some or make some friends who has this game, because randoms will never help you and will always lone wolf it. Fucking pricks. All bitching aside, Medal of Honor is not as bad as the other websites make it out to be. I really loved Preacher's story, and I played through hoping that he gets a chance to have that happy ending with his wife and kid. And I actually had some fun with the multiplayer until I unlocked the AUG and found out it was completely fucking useless. EA, if you're gonna use 2 developers to make your flagship FPS title, for the love of God, make sure the developers are consistent with each other so the players who finish the campaign don't feel so fucking alienated when they play the multiplayer. Medal of Honor gets a 7 out of 10. Believe the hype.